Welcome to a Drop Tent Media production.
Welcome to a happy Mother's Day episode of Seriously Dad. Today we have comedian Emily Epstein White with us. We're going to talk about religion. We're going to talk about race. We're going to talk about holiday traditions, and you're going to love it.
Seriously, Dad?
Seriously, Dad. Two father comedians out of Philadelphia. Seriously, Dad.
Dad? Seriously?
Dad.
Seriously? Seriously?
Well, here we are in studio for a special Mother's Day episode of Seriously Dad.
Mom's in the house. Seriously, Dad and Mom.
Emily Epstein White in the house. How are you today?
What's up, Emily?
I'm good. I'm happy to be breaking the glass ceiling.
Oh
of
my
men.
goodness, you're just a pioneer.
I
This is
am a lumberjack.
You're like the
mothers.
Karen Robinson of Seriously Dad.
I am. It feels amazing. I
Now,
love it.
Karen. I
Well,
just hear the name.
Jackie Robinson was the
I was going to say, I just hear the name
baseball
Karen now, and I'm just
player.
like,
So she's a Karen
She's
Robinson.
Jackie
Art-
Robinson's sister. She was also a very, very strong baseball player. But because she was black and a woman, she was not allowed to play.
There you go.
So that's
None
did you
of
know?
that is true.
Apparently, in 1983, Major League Baseball lifted the ban on women in baseball.
Is that right?
Yep, because there
Okay.
have been like some that made it in the minor leagues, but
Okay.
because there was apparently someone who struck out Babe Ruth in an exhibition game like back in the day.
wow.
That was,
Really?
yeah. So I don't know.
I don't talk about that one much at all.
You
It's
know,
amazing.
I have a calendar somebody got from my desk at school, and it's
Really?
got all facts on. And that
Like
was
women
one of them.
facts or just facts?
Just
Yeah,
facts.
they got him
facts.
just a calendar of women
just-
facts.
Women,
He's
yeah,
like,
just
you know
women
what?
facts.
You look like
half of
someone who
it's
needs women
half of
facts.
it's explaining the anatomy, which
Yeah.
I find fascinating.
It's
by
just
the way.
like when women get their periods, famous women throughout history.
She's like, wait, I know this answer.
Yeah.
May 7th, May 7th. Oh,
Yeah.
once every 28 days.
It's all in a
Yep, our
thought
vice
bubble.
president's going to get
That's right.
hers in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Right.
You get a whole month. March is International Women's Month.
Right.
I was born on International Women's Day, March 8th. So
Nice work.
every
Okay.
oh yeah, it was great in elementary school. They're like, oh, let's write Jay's name on the calendar next to International
Aw,
Women's
that's
Day.
nice.
And that's how bullying started, ladies.
That
and
is
gentlemen.
exactly how.
Well, happy
my-
belated birthday, right?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I
There you
turned
go. I
40.
didn't know it was your birthday.
Ooh,
right.
It's a big one.
It was a big one, so it was fine. And we actually, in true fashion, we did nothing for it.
Nice.
We just like
Oh,
let
yeah.
it pass. Just
Best
let
is
it. Just
to
let it
ignore.
go.
Yeah.
How old are you when you stopped giving a shit about your birthday?
21.
I stopped caring about my birthday at a young age. But as a parent, it gets even worse.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I love birthdays.
Your kids,
what did
kids
you
love
do
your
for-
birthdays, super mom.
What did you do for your
Better
last?
freaking
wait,
love my birthday.
What'd you do for your
my
last
birthday? My parents took the kids so we could go out to dinner, and then my dad got COVID and gave it to the whole family. So it was a
Oh
beautiful
my
Wow.
goodness!
birthday
Oh my!
present.
Whoa!
And
what
then
a
I got
wonderful.
3 weeks off of work, but also with COVID, so that was fun. But I got COVID first, and so
Pioneer.
I isolated for 2 days from my family, which
that's
in
a gift.
retrospect was wonderful.
That's a wonderful.
Because
gift.
I could be like, "Mommy loves you, needs to take a nap." Okay, kisses through the door.
Through the door.
Yeah, yeah. But
So,
but
what's-
I like birthdays. I think everybody needs one day to just be celebrated, appreciated.
Well, and that's why you also have Mother's Day, right? I mean, like,
Yeah.
But not everybody's a mother.
well, that's true.
So that's why everybody
shit.
gets a
Yeah,
birthday.
you do.
You just dropped that.
I'm
Are we
sorry.
have to edit
I
that
learned
out
that in your
because you're not-
calendar. Not everybody's a mother. Yeah.
True. I'm not a mother.
There you go. But yeah, no, everybody, like, I don't know. I mean, everybody.
Everybody has a mother.
True.
Did I say that? Everybody doesn't have a mother.
Then not everybody knows their mother.
And Neil and I are both like, wait, what?
Well, there's people who are born
Neil was like
outside
giving
of
this
a
look of like,
a
I'm
woman's
gonna give her the
uterus, right?
benefit of the doubt,
I don't know the scientifics. Scientifics.
but it's possible.
That's a word.
Scientifics is definitely a word.
But I
Okay.
mean, like, I feel like there are children who have gay fathers who don't necessarily know who the.
My friend Jay has gay fathers.
That's true. But I had gay mothers first, and then my dad was like, I'm gay, so.
Was he like, that looks fun?
It must have been.
I wanna
think
share
so.
clothes with my
He's like, yeah.
partner.
That's why I was getting mad because like everybody, like I had to like go hard on Mother's Day. I had two. Like
Yeah.
most people had like a month to save their allowance in between. So I should have just like waited to see who was the more butch one and bought them flannel in like June. You know, that's what I should have done.
True. You should have bought them a matching.
But
outfit
but
and
after
then-
I was done, I was done. You guys in June, I didn't have to do anything for like mid-June because I was done.
See, you would have thought they would have just been like, I'll take this month. You take.
Yeah, right. They should have alternated. Yeah,
How do we feel about Mother's Day? Like you're a mother.
I am.
Obviously, that's why you're here.
Yeah,
but that's like another
that's
birth.
not why
We did
I'm
our- we did
here.
our research
I
and-
earned it. No, I don't.
Like, Do you look forward to Mother's Day? Do you think it's cool? Are you excited on Do you wake up extra happy on Mother's Day? Like, what's Mother's Day like?
Again, I feel like it's annoying that there needs to be a day being like, hold up, be nice to her, okay? That's
That is
silly.
that is
silly.
actually a very good
and
point.
because it is the day, if you want to do something like eat a meal outside your house, it's a whole like planning big thing. It's the same.
You have to do it months in
Yeah,
advance.
it's the
Otherwise,
same
you're
reason
going to
Valentine's
get
Day is stupid. I think it's great to celebrate your freaking love, but why do we all have to do it on the same
Hallmark.
stupid day?
General
do you
Hallmark.
celebrate Kids Day or with loving
I
your
can't
kids?
keep
every-
track.
Oh, there's like-
so
See,
every day is
There
love
you-
my
there
kids.
he goes. There.
No,
That's what your
yeah.
kids probably say about you. Every day I love her.
But you're supposed to do stuff like on Mother's Day. You're supposed to make breakfast and bring it to them in bed, right? Like
Which is
that's-
fucking
you're
disgusting.
supposed to make.
Yes, it
Why
is.
is that
Which
disgusting?
is fine.
Yes, it is.
You're not supposed to be eating in the goddamn bed. That's
And like
fucking
if your
gross.
kids
Maybe
bring
it
it
is gross.
upstairs,
It's
they
a
might
laugh
flip
That
on
is
the
gross. They
plane.
tram their
Yeah,
shit on the
it's a
thing
mess.
now. That is
It's a disaster.
that is disgusting.
If you're gonna do that with small kids, you should make sure you have a pet of some kind that can is like
Like,
hoover
eat
behind
stuff
you.
over it.
I think that's a disgusting thing.
No, I
Like,
agree. I don't like eating in bed anymore.
So, have you ever been served breakfast in bed?
I have not, and I'm okay with that.
And you're
That's like
okay
a
with
college
that?
thing. I had breakfast in bed all the time in college. You bring the pizza in the bed. Or you
That's
hung
not
And
over.
lunch
breakfast.
in bed, and
Yeah,
dinner in
yeah,
bed.
you just-
and
You're having sad meals in bed.
Yeah, that's
I'm
exactly
talking about
what
a
that
young
is.
lady.
You're depressed.
Sad. Yeah.
You are.
If it's a sad meal first thing in the morning, it's
Yeah.
still fucking
No,
breakfast.
no,
all right?
no. I'm talking. I have made many a lady, women, and never mind.
Wait,
I'm
you've
gonna
had
stop.
you had
We're learning so much about Noah. right now.
about your
I've had
sex
many
life,
women in bed, and I've
or-
served them all
Yeah.
breakfast like a diner. Order
So
up.
eggs over easy.
The fucking
Yeah,
buzzard.
scrambled.
Eggs and legs, baby. Eggs and legs.
Yeah. It is true that you have to kind of like form. You sit up and you have to. You bring in a
You have
whole
to have the
thing. You have to have
tray.
kind of. I put a thing down so there's
You
no
have the
crumbs.
tray? You have the
I
bed
got
and
a
breakfast?
tray. Of course,
That's
I got
why
a tray.
women
I'm
want all
trying-
those pillows so
I
that
mean,
they
if
can
you're
prop
gonna do
themselves
this,
up.
you have the accoutrement.
Okay.
I will say, I did have one. There was one meal I had in bed that was very wonderful, not child related. When I lived in Brooklyn, I didn't realize this, but the New York Marathon ran past our Bed-Stuy apartment. Also, we didn't realize because apparently the differently abled folks go first. So first we saw all these people in wheelchairs and we're like, what is happening? Where? And that just happens for hours. And then the runners. So I'm just sitting there cheering on people, some without legs, running a marathon, and I'm eating cereal, sitting out the window with my pajamas on
And
my
that
bed.
was your breakfast?
It was I was like, I feel like such a piece of shit, but also so
I'm going to tell you right
amazing.
now, the percentage of human beings that have the tray to do the breakfast in bed
Yes.
has to be like 2%.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people go to IKEA?
Yeah.
It's
You
just
have
a
you have the
thing.
breakfast in bed tray in
No,
your
but I've
house?
thought about it. Every time I
You
go to
could use a
IKEA,
pillow.
like,
Maybe
I
you could
should
use one of
probably
the
get that.
pillows
Yeah.
because you have to have a night.
And it's got to be horrible for
How
your
many
posture.
pillows are on
You
your
gotta
bed?
sit up and you're all
Of
rounded
course.
over.
Albert stands up and eats. Albert's never
Yeah.
sat
In
down
bed.
for a meal.
I do air squats for my feet, okay? I chew and squat at the same time.
I believe that.
How many pillows are on your bed? That's a good question.
Very personal
That
question.
is very
That's
personal.
creepy as shit.
Sounded like the most friendly, like fresh and fit. Like, what do you weigh? How many? How many?
That is nowhere near how much.
I
you
know,
weigh.
I know.
That
I
was my next question, though.
7 pillows. Actually, it's funny. I have 2 pillows. My husband has like 52. It's
Do you have the ones that are just decorative, though?
no, I
all
don't
right.
understand
Don't
the point
waste-
of those.
don't waste
I'm a
life on
bad.
decorative
I'm a bad
pillows.
lady. I'm just like, why do we have these? They don't do anything.
They end up on the floor
Yeah,
over
they
the
do.
night, over the
They
course of
do.
the night.
They
just
end up on the floor.
dumping pillows.
That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Or you can use them as the tray you didn't
The
buy from
okay,
IKEA.
True.
okay, all right.
Well, when
Where do
I-
you even store the tray, Jay? Like, what the fuck?
The tray collapses and goes underneath the bed.
You can put it under the bed.
All right, all right. That's a-
I know
Hey,
what I'm
man.
getting you for Father's Day.
So
Yeah.
is that? So wait, I didn't even know. So traditionally on Mother's Day, mom should be eating breakfast in bed.
I mean, it's a thought, and yeah, or at least breakfast is made,
Or
and she
they
just
come
has
They
to
down
should be
to an
fed.
amazing-
They should
Okay.
be fed. It doesn't specify the Greek mythology to Mother's Day does not specify where you should be eating. It should be where you prefer.
Okay, and then what's the second thing on Mother's Day?
And I will say the Romans ate lying down on their side. Just
You know
so
that
we're-
from your calendar, don't you?
I do that.
Yeah. That's also how they
Mel
gave
Gibson's
birth.
on the back of that, right? What women want?
Yes.
Okay.
The Passion of the Christ.
God, that guy's insane.
Where did you
what
get
women
that
want and why
calendar?
are minorities
I like
bad?
it.
I think it's Spencer's Gifts.
Nice.
It's
Nice.
All right, and what's the second thing on Mother's Day? What's another like staple of Mother's Day?
gift. You have to have a solid gift.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
What's the
always
best
good.
one you
Gift in
got?
the morning.
I mean, they're 6 and 4, so like they're not. They're just understanding now that you need money to get things.
Well, we used to have like a little thing at school where there were like before you had to bring money and you got to buy a gift for your parents. Like they used to do like a little kind of like what they do for the book fair, but it was like gifts like cheesy tie tacks and stuff like
a bunch of bullshit.
jewelry that'll turn your arm green.
Right. What they have done, like my son's daycare just knows how to get you. It's just like some cute art project that they make that's really weird with like their picture in the
Macaroni and
front,
shit
but
on
their
there.
picture is on it, and it's so goddamn cute. There's one. It's a plant that doesn't sit up, made out of wood with his face. My son's face is the flower, and it's so dumb and so cute.
Yeah,
and
we
I'm
have.
like, I like this thing.
Do you keep all of that stuff?
Yes.
Oh my
Really?
god.
I am sure
It's
I'm
so
going to get to a
bad.
point where I'm like, this is going in a little box.
I had to get like the big art supply folders for my wife and just be like, you can keep whatever you can fit in those things.
Yes.
And then we have a clothesline in our hallway.
My daughter.
That, like you can
Really?
like
of all the
paper-
pictures of
My
all
daughter
this?
makes
whatever
a
I know what you're
art.
talking about.
current like
Yeah.
Flavor of
gallery.
love. Maybe we should start that. Like maybe we should just not be getting birthday gifts, Mother's Day, Father's Day until our kids are a certain age, so they have like
Well,
some.
I thought this is
some
my
like
question.
some
Isn't
style.
Dad supposed to help? I thought this was the move for Mother's Day.
Yes, that is nice.
Yes.
Whoa, whoa,
Dad's
whoa,
gotta
yeah,
get-
wait.
Whoa,
This is
Neil, I
the
don't know
big
what the
thing.
fuck you're talking about.
Yeah. You heard me.
Dad does not
You
do
heard me.
anything.
No, seriously, Dad.
It
seriously.
does. It does.
I mean, I
it
know
does
when it comes
fall
to
on us.
Father's Day, you know that usually the mom
You
does.
you help on Father's Day?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
I do stuff on Father's. I do whatever would make him happy for
And
that
what's
day.
and what does he know?
Well, what's annoying is it's kind of what I do anyway. Like let him sleep in, which is usually what I let him do because
Okay.
I'm usually the one that gets the kids up. So
Okay,
you know,
so he's living his best life.
he is. So
Every
it's
day's
funny.
Father's Day
it's
for this
funny,
fucking
like
guy.
exactly Mother's Day. I sleep in, and I hear a lot of shh, let mommy sleep, which is loud, but also I appreciate the gesture.
You know, he's doing that. No. He's doing that on purpose because he wants you to start to wake
know.
up.
But I
I'm
do,
sorry, bro. I
like-
just told on you, but he's doing it on purpose.
That stuff happens, and you're like, this is so nice. Why doesn't this happen more often? You know, that's
Yeah.
the thing.
Well, that's
that
what
I
ours.
think about.
So I do mornings, like Saturday and Sunday. I'm the morning guy because I'm out all the time at night.
Right.
She's got to put the kids to bed every night without me. So then I handle, no matter how late. Like I was out. I didn't get home till like 1 a.m. on Saturday, and at 8 a.m. I was in the car driving to Allentown to go to Da Vinci's Science Center with a bunch of Girl Scouts, and I was the only dad. It was all these women and me, and all the women were like off to the side against the wall on their feed, while these
Yo.
poor underqualified 17-year-olds trying to teach them about the water cycle, and it was a nightmare. And I had to like sit down and like with my daughter because I had to help her regardless. But I'm like trying to like reteach the lesson because I'm watching this poor 17-year-old just die.
Yo, that
you ever
is-
watch a comic just
Dude.
to never die at an open mic? No, I was watching this guy die in front of me. I love
Dude, that's a serious dad flex though, because I've been there before too. Like all the other dads and or moms are like not engaged at all. And
They're
you're
like, we're
what
just
do
here
you-
so we don't get fined.
What the fuck are you guys doing? And then
Why
you just get in
bother?
there.
They were like,
and then
well,
you're
we
just like,
signed them up because they're
Yeah.
in Girl Scouts, so now we did our part.
We did our part, and then we can just play on our phone. And then you're like, no, I'm gonna.
But
I'm
if
gonna
you
do
sign
that.
up to be there and you're just going to be against the wall,
don't go.
Like somebody
They
has to
legally
stay-
need someone there. Listen, I feel like as a person, as a parent who works full time and does stand up, I am just propelled on guilt. Like I love my kids, but I always feel like if I can come a little late to a show so I can put my kids to bed first, I will always do that. But I always feel like I'm trying to do everything and I'm always letting somebody down, but I'm always trying to make everybody.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's I hate that perpetual state though. You know what I mean? Where you
you're always
feel
like late or getting
I'm
somewhere.
always sorry
going
to
somewhere.
somebody.
Yep.
You're like mentally frazzled when you get there, but you got
Always.
but gotta play it cool now. Got to remember
You're
these
like, just give me
punchlines.
5 minutes.
But you're
okay,
thinking about
let's
like,
go. Yeah.
isn't it weird when the kids ask you like a cliffhanger of a question? You got to cut them short. Like they may ask you like a really deep question.
They're all
at a
deep
very
questions.
inopportune time.
They're all deep questions.
And you're like, shit, I wish I could. Okay, I'll talk about it later. And then you got to leave. But in your head, you're like, wow, I wish I could have stuck around and explained.
We're gonna
that
put a
question little
pin in
better.
that one, and we're gonna address that
Yeah.
tomorrow.
My daughter was falling like 6-year-old, falling asleep the one time, and she like half woke up. I thought I was slipping away. I thought I could get out,
no.
and she's like, "Why can't I see God?" I was like,
You're like, oh,
How much
shit.
time do you have?
"Oh yeah, that's right." I was like,
Oh boy,
you
there's a thing. Okay.
Deities can be omniscient figures at a time. loser.
The
Did you
guy,
say deity? Did you say the word deity?
I erred on the side of being truthful, but with words she would have no idea.
So you
what
lost
they
her in the
meant.
confusion.
So
Good
I was
job.
I was like
Good
I
job.
went
That's a
full
good
Over the
contract
head.
on her.
flex.
Yep.
That's
I went
good.
full contract because I did not lie to her.
Yeah.
I'll be damned if she didn't understand a damn syllable that I said.
I mean, in my head, there's always like a court case that kids get to like prosecute their parents.
Yeah.
Like
There is
later
no
on when
statute
they're-
of limitations.
Yeah. Your Honor, you use the word like this, like you're
Deity.
Elf on a shelf, Your Honor.
the God question is so hard because like my side of the family is Jewish and I was raised that way, but I don't necessarily know if I believe in God per se. My husband was raised very religious, Pentecostal,
And as a result now-
and as a result is nothing now. Probably anti-religion if anything.
Yeah.
But his mother came and stayed with us for a while. She was sick about a year ago, and she is very religious. Like she would pray on food, and so the kids were like, are we
are
pray?
we
Is that what
doing
we're
this?
doing
Is
now? Are
this
we
an
pray? Are
everyday
people that pray?
thing? Yeah.
And so it's this weird thing where like, so we throw the term God around sometimes. So I was at the supermarket with my daughter, who is tall. I mean, she's almost my height, and I'm 5 feet, and she's 6. So I think maybe
Nice.
by second grade she will be my height or taller, and I'm not even joking. And so
That's
I was
gonna
trying
change
to
Mother's
reach
Day.
something from a high shelf at the supermarket, as I always had to, and it's very humiliating. And I had to ask another person who was taller than me to get it. And my daughter turns to me and she goes, "Why are you so short, Mom?" And I said, "God made me that way." And she goes, "Mom, you know there's no God." And the woman next to me who bought the food for me was like, "And I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. No follow-up questions. You have a lot on your plate."
Yeah,
so
paper, plastic, I'm out. Yeah.
basically.
It's
yeah.
it's hard because I think a lot of people now are that way. I'd be interested to hear more people talk about because like I was raised I'm Catholic, whatever, went to Catholic school all this time, but now it's like I feel like more agnostic, more like when I went to college, I went to Ursinus. That's how I got down to this Philly area. And there was a course all freshmen had to take called CIE, the Common Intellectual Experience. And basically, you read from stuff like the Epic. It was like a survey course. You read from like the Epic of Gilgamesh, then you read excerpts of like the Bible, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, and all through like Marxist, whatever. And every time you read a piece, a teacher could have been a biology teacher, a philosophy teacher. Everybody had to teach it. Everybody had to take it. 3 questions you always had to answer. What does it mean to be human? What is our role in the universe? And what does it mean to be good? And
Wow.
according to those pieces, you had people of all faiths. And I had a philosophy teacher my second semester whose sole goal was to mess with your head. If you were someone who was a fundamentalist in any religion, he was going to challenge everything you said.
They salivate for that shit.
And
the
he
philosophy
did. He got
guys. They
so
love it.
excited.
They love
So I
it.
think that helped me break through and be like, you know what? At the end of the day, there's certain tenets like be good. Like
Yeah.
every religion has a rule that's like, you know what?
Thou shalt not kill. Like,
Be kind.
killing
Just be
people is
kind.
bad.
Rewind. You know what I mean? It's simple. It's,
Well, I just want to say, based on what you just said, I have now just become the expert in the room.
Okay.
Okay, because that is
Fantastic.
that is my life. Because my dad's Jewish, my mom's black, so a little bit different.
That's
but
not
my
a different
grandmother.
you know that's not a religion, right?
What's that? Black.
Black. It's not a religion.
No, well,
I
not
would like
Jewish.
to disagree. Kindly disagree.
But so they were like, I think Episcopalian.
Is that when you're Jewish and black, you're
No,
Episcopalian?
the black people were Episcopalian.
Oh, okay.
But my
Okay.
grandmother, mega religious. Like she was the type of woman who would walk up a flight of stairs and be like, "Thank you, Jesus."
For getting me up these stairs.
Yes, yeah. I'd be like, "Oh, thank you, Lord." And she wasn't joking. That was just who she was. And it was like we were growing up in like a Jewish world, and then you had this person who was very important to us who was not observing the same stuff we were, and it was pretty interesting.
It's confusing. I mean, it is. The idea is like we want them to choose what they want to be as opposed to forcing it on them.
Right.
And I think it's easier for it to happen that way when neither of us are hard line whatever. Like I love the idea of Judaism. I love the cultural aspect. I love the rituals of Judaism.
Okay.
But I can't say that I agree with everything. And I feel like organized religion can often be used as a way to stop people from doing things, and you can turn and twist it to
You
make
can
it
manipulate the shit out of them
exactly.
with that.
But like, I love the idea again. Like, was 613 laws right with Judaism?
Yeah,
The idea
totally.
is that they're supposed to tell you what shoe you tie first, what clothes you should wear, because that's stupid shit. That stuff you shouldn't have to worry about. That way you can use your brain and focus on the important stuff. That's the idea. And I like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
But it's figuring out if we all agree what the important stuff is and how to do the important stuff.
And that's probably why so many. I remember going to at our science too as a group, and they defined religion as scrupulous conformity, which just means we go blind. Like you said, we want to take that off your plate. Here's what we just know. This is what we
you
do.
just work on the
And you
important
just
stuff.
yeah. So and I get and that's why, because we were trying at some point when we were trying to become a civilization and not just a bunch of people, fending for ourselves.
and gathering
We
and
had to
whatever.
have some kind of thing on the same page that we all believed in,
Yeah.
so we could all work towards a similar goal. And now,
Which
we're
was
past that.
good until we met people that believed in a different
That's
thing.
right.
We believed in it. It was like,
And then
we
it's
gotta
like,
kill
yeah.
you now. You know that.
Yeah.
You can't have sex. We have to kill you. This is going to be tough. I
we
always
do have
wondered,
sex.
though.
We can't tell anybody about it. It's a deep, dark, horrible
Yeah, because
secret.
the big guy's watching.
Mm.
You said like you want your children to pick their religion, right? I feel like people say that a lot, and I think it sounds good. Does anybody know anyone who's ever picked a religion in life?
But like, how do you present them with the options?
Right,
Like, 'cause you don't
right,
go out
right.
of your way to present them like
Well,
Buddhism, do you?
The idea is that we do, like, my husband has always said, like, at this point, that he's not religious, but if he were to pick something, he likes the idea of Buddhism. So
Okay.
the idea is that we would steer them in different directions, but I don't want to force religion down their throat. And I know that people say a lot of times when you don't do that, they just end up being nothing.
Yeah.
But I also feel like when you force religion down people's throat, they end up rejecting it completely. So I mean, for me, like, religion at times can be a source of comfort. When someone passes
Yes.
away and that
Yes.
community
Yes.
and all of that, I love that. I think that's great. And as long as they have that sense of community, I'm happy. I mean, I wish I was one of those people who was devout, because I think just believing that there's a reason that it all happens and it all is meant to be
Yo,
this way
yes.
would be wonderful.
The amount of
but
stress
I just
that
don't work
takes-
that way.
Like, if you've ever met someone who's like a devout of any
Yeah.
time, who can just go, it's all in God's hands
It's
now,
all
and
gonna
then
work
turn
out,
that
'cause
way
it's a-
and do
yep.
something else,
Oh.
they're going to live to be like 150 years old. They're going to have a stress-free life because they're like, nothing I can do about it. It's in God's hands. So let's just go keep on having fun.
Yep.
People who don't have that release, that religion, it's all on our shoulders. It's like the weight of the world on our shoulders.
We're still
stressed out.
questioning if
Yeah.
it was right to have kids. Like,
Yeah, and
they're
they're
we
like-
can't do
and they're
anything
like,
about it
that's-
now.
They're like, that's what God wanted, so
was
we're just
that
going
a-
to keep on going
Yeah,
forward.
yeah.
It's like
And
a
that-
boomerang, though. You use it when you're young, and then it whips back around when you're old because you can't handle. Like,
Yeah.
you can't handle. There's just too much going on. Like, my mom, is brilliant. Like, as I'm watching her get older, I'm seeing her struggle with the Comcast remote. This woman has like 3 master's degrees, but like, as you get older, like, there's just too much to be thinking about. That, like, you need things simplified, and I think that's why religion in the beginning of your life and at the end of
Sure.
life is so big, because it helps answer because that's really what religion is. It's like answering the questions that we can't with our own eyes in science. Like,
And I
trying
think
to
it's
fill
the
in
community
gaps.
aspect too. I think having
Yeah.
like-minded people around you to co-sign what you're thinking and saying
Yeah.
and feeling, that is
Yeah.
a good.
But that can also be like the detrimental portion of it too.
True.
Like
Absolutely.
I don't the term like a gossiping church lady. You ever hear someone say something like that?
Yeah.
Because you get in those things and it does get very gossipy, clicky, and like, oh, that person is this and they're over there.
Very
And we don't really
judgy.
like them. Yeah, and then it's like, so we came here for this camaraderie and these people to be on our team in the name of the Lord or Hashem or whatever you're into, and then you've turned into this person who's like very exclusive and doesn't mesh well with those people and all that stuff.
Well, that's right. They're not doing religion for religion's sake. It's like the women at this Girl Scout thing. They weren't doing it so that their daughters
Right.
could be Girl Scouts and learn about
get
the
the 3,000
science.
patches,
They
yeah.
did it because it was like
they
another.
feel like they're supposed to.
They feel like they're
They're
supposed
checking
to.
the boxes and
Exactly
doing what they
right.
need
I feel like
to do.
and I also feel like religion. It's kind of like diabetes. Like skips a generation.
Not
Say
that I've
diabetes.
noticed.
No, diabetes skips a generation, doesn't it?
I
But,
don't
like,
think so.
You very. I feel like. I think diabetes skips it. Let's Google this. I think diabetes skips it.
I don't think they're witches' curses, no. But
But
I'll take a look.
I think
double toil and
I think that like people have very religious parents. They usually are not very religious, but then they may raise their kids to be religious. I feel like it very seldom does it go religious, like all the way down.
I don't know. I
feel
feel
like-
like it goes. Sometimes it goes religious, never again. You know, I mean,
it probably ebbs and flows. Well, it's funny because like we talked about like my parents for the longest time, they both were gay, I think they knew their whole lives, but they weren't allowed to. So they both tried to go to the seminary. Like before they met each other, they both separately went into the seminary.
man.
And then they were like, this isn't working. Then they went to a Jesuit university, which is where they met. And they're like, all right, let's try to play house.
Let's be each other's beard.
And then we're like, oh, wait, yeah. And then wait a second. And I think that happens a lot. But even my uncle, my mom's brother, who's also gay, was like the most religious man I ever met in my life, even though his lifestyle was. Like, I think it was just this, but I think he was doing it because it was the comfort of what his parents did.
Yep.
And so we just want to hold on to things.
I think that's why things are passed down a lot of times. It's not even like, oh, you're so devout, but it's like there's comfort, there's
I'm doing what I'm
ritual,
supposed to
there's
be
all of that
doing.
stuff that you remember from your childhood, and you want to pass that down to your kids and whatever.
Yeah.
Now, do your kids ever go to either of your parents and go with them to whatever services they go to?
We've done services, like they've gone with my parents to synagogue before. And
What do they think? They got to think that's
well,
kinda
it's the
wild
it's the
shit.
kids' service, and
So they're
also
kind of separate.
my daughter loves challah, so she thinks it's great.
I think most people, once they get their first taste of challah.
Now, have they
Challah is
also
pretty
went
good.
with your husband's parents at all ever?
My mother-in-law is in Brooklyn, so we don't get to see her as much. I mean,
yeah.
I think she's taken my daughter to Easter services like once, but it's not been
Okay.
so it's not as much on both sides. Again, I think the difference is too, like I am more religious than my husband, and my family is here, so we do a lot of that stuff.
That makes sense.
So it's not like he's reinforcing the religious side because he doesn't care.
Yeah.
So it's a fun little.
When they go to synagogue and or church, are they like?
It's just googling the genetics of diabetes right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes, you guys were talking.
It
was
turns
great.
out I'm right.
But,
I just remember
okay.
this.
No, not at all. No, I mean, it's got nothing. Again, you have two, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is you have at risk. Jesus Christ, Albert.
I love it.
Yeah.
This is also this is from the generation. So
I know
because your
multiple
nana
generations.
told you it skipped a generation doesn't make it true, dude.
I know multiple generations of people that have it, so I feel like
All right,
You
so,
are at risk for type 1 and type 2. Just be careful and get checked by a doctor.
So
All right,
when
thank
they
you.
when
Kneel
they,
out.
are we sponsored by the American Diabetes?
Yes, we
are
are
now.
Yep.
When I guess what I'm saying is when they go to like church, it's in English, right?
It
There's
is.
the songs have a different cadence, a different energy. It's different. It's a different spirit. When they go to synagogue, it's probably mostly, you're mostly
There is some Hebrew.
and most people are mumbling through that because let's keep it real, Jews. You don't know what the fuck you're saying.
No, we know the. Trust me, we know the prayers. We just don't know what they mean.
Yeah,
but like we
yeah.
know them.
So,
but I think
and are they
it's-
like, what the fuck?
But again, they're children's services. The idea is to try and make it accessible to children so they understand why. They're
My
doing
daughters
what
have
they're
always
doing.
loved it when they've gone either with my mom or my wife's parents. Actually, my wife's parents had donated the land that the church is on. So like my mother-in-law was the
Damn.
church
All
secretary.
right.
And it was
Holy
brethren.
shit.
Church land money.
I know,
Okay.
it was brethren.
Yeah,
They
that
were
sounds like a fucking TV
And it was
show, right?
brethren. Like I don't know if you know much about brethren. It's a step up from like Mennonite, but it's like, but it's so they don't make their own clothing and things like that. But very strong adherence to the Bible. Not much frills in terms of like the service or the
Okay.
church itself.
In terms of your back
Almost
history.
Amish, like?
Yeah.
So
Is it close to
It's
that?
close. Like her,
Okay.
yeah. Some of her, like her one uncle, is more Mennonite, where they make their own clothes and
Nice.
do some of that. So it's a little bit more traditional. So they adhere more to the scripture than all the extras. But the girls go and they have a great time. They've gone with my mom. Like they're gonna gain experience. They're gonna meet people. It's the community. So like for me, I'm more than happy for them to go and experience the different styles of religion and whatever, because I think that I want them to know that it's there.
Whatever gives you comfort, you know,
Exactly.
and doesn't make you a piece of shit human being
That's
is
it.
good.
It's
Usually
good.
good. That's
stuff.
usually a good
That's
equation.
stuff. That's the
It
branding that I would
So
put on
let
it.
me ask you this: what would you do, right? If you're your kid, let's say your kid's like 14, he has his bar mitzvah, which are they probably won't have bar mitzvahs.
We'll see. Here's the thing: we're in an area where there are a lot of Jews, so I wonder if they're going to be like, "That looks fun," and I'll be like,
Yeah.
"Well, it's work." So
No, they made a lot of money off that birthday
yeah,
party.
but you do. I mean, you gotta
gotta
learn some
fucking read
things
ancient
and do
Hebrew
some
and do
speeches
shit. Yeah,
and-
it's
yeah.
crazy.
No, it's not for nothing.
But let's just say hypothetically, your son he gets his bar mitzvah, he's hanging around the rabbi in the synagogue, and he's into it. Next thing you know, it's Friday night, 5 o'clock, and he's like, "Hey, we can't turn off or on any lights in the house." because we're Jewish and I'm taking it. How would you react to that?
I'll be like, that is totally fine. I have a show. So I'm going to leave
Yeah,
before
that's right.
sundown just to make sure I don't offend you, and Godspeed.
So you'd be like, you can do your thing.
Well, I mean,
Mama's gonna do her thing.
listen, I became a vegetarian when I was like 14.
Which is almost like a religion.
It is, yeah. And it was annoying to the people. I mean, I don't think I was too proselytizing about it, but my parents didn't stop me from doing it. They were just like, that's cool. Because I wasn't like, I'm not going to eat it if there's a chicken on the table. I was just like, all right, I won't eat that. So, I mean, I feel like you got to let kids figure their
You let 'em
stuff out.
explore.
Yeah. And as long as they're not hurting anybody or themselves, like, figure it out. Take your time.
Yeah.
And we're also like tuned in all the time with everything. Like maybe it's not so bad to have a couple hours
with no
or minutes
with
without
that
your
thing
phone,
unplugged.
depending on how it,
Yeah. And I think because we're living amongst other religions, we're not as secluded. Like I grew up in the hill section of Scranton for a good period, and there was a big Orthodox Jewish tradition, but then there was also just a regular like
Regular Jewish?
Secular Jews.
slow, like mix of like
Ultra
regular
heavy Jews
Scranton
and
people.
the
But like
light-
that
light
side of the
secular-
neighborhood
secular
at
Jew,
Friday
right?
at 5 o'clock. That
No.
side of
No
the
lights,
neighborhood,
yeah.
nothing.
I
And they're all like
miss
walking. They got are they Hasidic?
And they had the
like-
payots
Yeah.
and all
Yeah,
of that.
yeah.
Yep.
And then,
I miss living in New York because it was pretty funny. We called them like Jewish vampires because it would be like nighttime and it'd be like it'll be like 12:30 at night on a Friday and they're just
Yeah.
like wheeling stroll. I'm like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I don't understand.
When I could hear the prayers, like at the next door, like because we were like right on top of each other, it was all like row homes.
So
you
you
could
hear, like,
hear
chanting
the,
and shit.
Yeah.
Did it scare you at first?
At first, I was kind of
I
like,
bet it
what
did. I
is
bet you I was scared as
happening?
shit.
It's
You
pretty.
didn't
It's
know.
all pretty intense. What I missed the most about living in New York was Purim. If you know the holiday of Purim, it's kind of
probably
a
don't. Like the Halloween
celebratory.
of
It's
Jewish
a
people.
all of the Jewish holidays are these people tried to kill us, we survived. Let's celebrate.
That's
or,
right.
Yeah. So Purim is the same sort of idea, but the idea for Purim is you're supposed to wear a costume and get drunk, and the Orthodox do adhere to this very
I
much.
celebrate Purim a lot.
Every week.
Wednesday, Thursday, and I'd be on the subway like late at night, and there'd just be like drunk Orthodox Jews in costume, and it was the most. I was like,
Oh,
oh,
that's
it's right,
fun.
Purim. Yeah, that's what it is.
It's cool.
That's cool though. That's and then I realized like there weren't just Orthodox; they were Reformed.
Mm-hmm.
I dated a rabbi's daughter, but she was Reformed, and so like I was going to Catholic school, so I actually like on like Yom Kippur, whatever one's in the there's one in the fall, September, October.
He was like, just don't
Rosh
marry him.
Hashanah?
Just
Maybe
don't
Rosh
marry
Rosh
him.
Hashanah,
Maybe
maybe
Rosh
it
Hashanah.
was the Day of Atonement, whatever the Day of
Yom
Atonement is.
Kippur.
Did you eat? Did you eat
So
that
I
day?
went. I spent the whole. I didn't go to school that day, and I tried to convince my Catholic school, like, if I wrote a paper, could it be an excused absence?
And what they say?
They said no.
They
And I
said-
even
did
tried.
they
My
say, "We don't like those
my
people," so
girlfriend's
no?
dad even offered to come talk to our class or whatever, and they were like, "No, we keep we're different tribes. We split off for a
Yeah,
reason."
that's interesting. isn't
Separate
it?
but not equal.
Yeah, no, that's
Okay.
no. You said something. I think. Oh, geez, I don't even know what to
What?
say now because I'm already 0 for 1. But I think
About
I
the-
heard
about the
So when,
diabetes?
when Kanye, when Kanye was going nuts about Jewish people and
It's
stuff.
it's yay. It's
What-
yay now.
Yeah. When Kanye was going nuts about the Jewish people, one of the things he did say, he said, I envy them that on the weekends they unplug their devices and they spend time with their families and they have their dinners. We don't do that in my culture. And it kind of goes back to what you were saying, like we are plugged in, and it is not a bad idea to take the weekend to stop doing that shit and just hang out with your family.
It's hard. I mean, I was
almost
talking to
impossible.
somebody the other day who went camping this weekend, which is like, I did not grow up in an outdoor family. We're very indoor people. I don't know if that's a Jewish thing or not.
Wait, well,
Jewish
Jewish thing
thing.
usually
Is
go to
it we
camp.
never went
Did you ever go
camping?
camp in the summer? They didn't. Your
No,
parents didn't say
I
go to
never went
camp in the summer?
camping.
Never
I've
Poughkeepsie?
never
Oh,
been.
man.
I've never been skiing. Like I don't. These are things my children will have to learn.
Well, like Jewish summer camp is like supposed to be like.
It's very indoor. We sleep inside.
a lot of
We have
allergies
built
we're managing.
established structures with indoor bathrooms. We're like, this is nice. There are a lot of bugs. So
You
then
go
we
outside.
inside.
You go outside for lunch. You come back.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no.
Yeah.
And I loved it. Don't get me wrong.
It's glamping.
But yeah, but he was like, I go camping, and I love doing that with my friends because you are forced to unplug, and it's
Yes.
because I feel like it's hard to just say, all right, no phones for like 2 days. You need to not be able to do it for it to actually
Yeah,
work.
you need to like take the battery out of my phone and like throw it away or something.
Well, like the Jewish people who are really in, they have like their timers in their house and everything, so the lights just start turning on and off.
I think
when
it's
the sun
so
goes
funny
up and
though
the
when
sun
like
goes
they'll
down.
ask someone to touch something for them,
them,
and I'm
yeah.
like, then you didn't plan. I mean, this is every week. Like you should know. Don't
You know
use
what's
this
happening.
elevator. Like don't get sick right now and go to the hospital. You know,
Yeah.
whatever. But
Yeah.
There's no parent pressure, or I should say, your kids' grandparent pressure for any of you guys about religion, because that's definitely what my
there's-
experience is. Like,
yeah,
you
there
have to
is.
get them baptized. Yeah, you have. So,
I didn't. I was like, we're not going to give my daughter a Hebrew name because we're not raising. And my mom was like, but we're going to have a ceremony. I was like, no. And she's like, but you're, no, but
We set that tone at our wedding. Our wedding was the first time we decided, like, we had it in a church at her sinus college, but
I like
we
that
had
you
a
used air quotes. A church.
But it was also a lecture hall, so it wasn't like being used as a
It was
It was like the
church.
chapel,
Yeah.
right? The
It
community.
was
yeah.
the chapel that was also like, but like, and then we had a non-denominational minister. We had non-traditional readings, so we wanted to set a tone from the beginning that like we were going to be thoughtful and mindful, but we weren't subscribing to either one of wherever our families were coming from.
That's funny. We did that for our wedding. My husband is black because I'm making mini Alberts.
It's gonna work out well for you.
Yeah, they're
Someone's gonna
bluish,
like
and
help them out.
it's the best. And but we were joking that we broke a glass. It's a Jewish custom that you
yeah.
step on the
Mazel tov.
glass. Thank you. And what we wanted to do was break a glass and jump over a broom onto a glass to break it, because that's like the black, Southern tradition of
Yeah.
jumping over the broom. But then we were afraid people get mad, so we decided not to do that. But yeah, it's the idea of like trying to mix that. We also did orchestral versions of hip hop songs. To walk down the aisle, and I'm very angry because we walked down the aisle to a beautiful orchestral version of All of the Lights, and Kanye has ruined that for us.
Oh
now, so
shit! You got to
thanks
redo
a lot.
that one.
Yeah. Also,
Wow.
Wu Tang. It was good. It was
Really?
good arrangement.
That's
yeah.
one of the coolest things I've heard at a wedding.
Cream orchestral. It's a beautiful song.
I bet.
Yeah.
Are they going bring? Are they making that noise? Is that what they're doing?
Yes. Use the whole instrument.
I think that my concern about religion and raising a child to be prescribed to any religion is the amount of control that religion tries to put over one's life.
Yeah.
That really is just like, because I think I got to believe that was why religion was started, to, like you said, to control all these people. You know what I mean? How do we get people to stop killing each other? Well, tell them that somebody's watching.
Yeah.
And tell them that when they kill someone, that guy's going to be pissed. Okay, write that down. Cool. And how do we kill someone and stop banging his neighbor's wife? Okay, tell them that same guy who's going to, and then you just start controlling people with that. And you see that with like, like those mega churches, that Joel Osteen shit. You're a piece of shit, Joel Osteen. Joel Osteen, where people are giving all their money to this extremely wealthy guy who's got the perfect teeth and a beautiful family and a beautiful wife and 6 jets and all these things. And then you got people who have nothing, giving them 100% of what, 10% of nothing, but they don't have, tithing and such.
Yep.
And you're keeping this family extremely wealthy.
he's got to get demons off his jet.
Yeah. And here you are. You
Holy
got
water
nothing.
is not cheap.
You got nothing.
And you got to baptize the whole jet, all of the
Carbonated-
fleet. Yeah.
we use carbonated holy water here at Seriously Dad. But that's what drives me nuts is really like the manipulation of that.
Or
those
how
rules.
people use it to justify or not justify abortion or gay
Yeah,
rights
or
or
slavery
trans
or-
rights or
yeah,
any
Well, it's
of
like
that
statistics.
stuff.
Yeah, you could tell the narrative. You could fit the narrative around as you want. That's
And
the
that is-
thing. When
that
you
is
look at
the
a
problem,
document
too.
that was written in several languages, how many thousands of years ago?
Yeah.
There's going to be so many ways to interpret
and
it.
versions.
And versions.
Versions, I don't think the Torah has different versions, but I could be wrong. But I know the Bible. There's a King James. There's the New International Version. There's
The Old
there's
Testament,
different.
the New Testament,
There's
all that,
different
yeah.
versions of the same thing where you start swapping words out. You kind of can change. You can change the narrative 100%.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure there were plenty of things that weren't included that were written around then too. Like I know there's a whole series of the Lost Bible or books that didn't make it in. So it's like it's
The
hard to
director's
say.
cut.
At some point, yeah,
director's
exactly.
cut.
Somebody made that widescreen version that we didn't get to see.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
just have
Well, it's like
standard
the
fit.
same issue we have, right, with the Constitution and the amendments, right?
Yes,
it's
yes.
like, what was the intention when this was written?
right.
This didn't exist at that time. Well, what would they think about it? How can we interpret that now? And it,
How do we know? Right. And
That's why libertarians aren't raising their kids with that Constitution bullshit. No,
And then
it's
I
interesting.
think it kind of just spirals out, and then you just have a way of controlling people, and that's
It's interesting as a public school teacher too, because like we have like all these kids and like religion and things like that come up. We have kids that get together at the flagpole on Fridays and pray, like, but it has to be like outside school. Like, and I grew up in a Catholic school too, so I remember having to pray and that being part. So it's interesting as a teacher in a public school, and sometimes I'll teach about like the Romans and I teach Latin, so we'll be talking about how the Romans had many deities, or if I'm teaching Spanish, we were just talking about the indigenous tribes in Mexico, and I showed them a temple which obviously had several deities.
Right.
So you inevitably have to talk about. Or like I show them the Vatican and show them,
You
know,
can't
the
pretend that
Pope and-
religion doesn't exist.
Yeah, so
I
you have
mean,
to teach it
it's-
historically without having an opinion or without letting my
Factually,
opinion. In the
how
same
it's-
way
yeah.
that if you're trying to honestly parent your kids in a way that isn't pushing them, then you say, well, some people believe this, and here's
Some
the
people can use
tradition of
this for
and
this, and yeah, no, it is.
At
it
the end
is-
of the day, they're all trying to be kind to one another. That's it.
Yeah, the Catholic school I went to really left out a lot of the killing.
Yeah, they really.
It was really, you
downplay
read
the
later, and they're
killing,
like, "You guys
yeah.
killed a lot of people, like a lot of them." And they're like, I don't
well,
know
you
about
know,
that
Yeah.
part.
We
It's
gloss over the
fine.
whole Cain and Abel thing. That guy
Yeah.
killed his own brother. Like, what
Noah's Ark. That was just like, I'm going to kill the world except for like
yeah.
one dude.
Yeah, sure.
yeah, and those two animals that got picked. What about the others that didn't?
Yeah, that's fucking genocide. dude.
See, I feel like for us, the issue is I mean, it was always like people hated us, tried to kill us. We got through this, we got through that, we got through this. But then modern day Israel is our
Right.
big, like, whoo.
Yeah,
It's not exactly, I don't know.
Pump the brakes on that modern
Yeah,
day Israel thing a
this
little bit.
is complicated
going
and not
well.
exactly black and white.
are
And
happening.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
it was- that's- yeah.
Yeah.
Tough
Which
times.
which you can be very Jewish and love the Lord or whatever, Hashem, whatever you want to call it, and think that and not be supportive of things that
You
sort
can.
of that Israel does.
I mean, I think you can love the idea of Jewish people having a state. The question is how that is being implemented. That
Right,
can be the issue.
right.
So, like, there's that whole argument about Zionism. How people think that if you're a Zionist, that you are anti-Palestinian.
Palestine.
Right.
And the idea is the concept of Zionism is just that Jewish people should have a place.
Right.
But you know,
They should be
Yeah.
doing some
It's
fucking
easy
shit.
as I'm seeing your kids come up to you with the hard questions, like you're like you got just like, which one do you guys
Oh,
like?
man.
Israel or Palestine? You're like, all right, son, listen, we gotta run, we gotta get
This
to a
is
Chuck
a
E.
deep
Cheese.
dive.
So why don't we?
You want another bike by any
Yeah,
chance? They're
yeah.
selling
I'm gonna
bikes
queue
here
up some
early.
YouTube videos, and we're gonna go down a hole, and it's gonna be.
Dude.
I mean, what we always say to our kids is like, we're not perfect. We're
Right.
always learning stuff.
Wow.
We're doing our best to teach you the best that we can. When we tell you to do something, we're
I don't
always
give,
right.
I don't give them the inside track on that.
No. I'm like,
There's
when
a
we're
Wizard of
telling-
Oz, my friends.
When we're telling you to do something, we're always right. But there are some things in the world that we might
don't
not
have figured out.
understand, and we are always trying to be better people and learn more. And you learn your whole life.
That's right.
I remember when I was younger, I said this. I think this was the moment for me when I was like, I don't really know if I buy this. I said to my mother, I said, how come when the Jewish people were slaves, God helped them get out?
Oh,
And how
boy.
come when the black people were slaves, God didn't really help them that much? And that was like, and I remember that was like
That's how
shit.
old were you? You're
Oh,
like
I was
25.
young. I was young. Yeah.
I was
28.
It was
no,
2
I
months
was I
ago.
was young, and I remember like the look on her face, the look on my dad's face, and I was like, oh, I got something here. And then I don't even. The answer was like, well, things were done. Some bullshit answer, and that's I walked out of there.
Well,
being like,
deities are different
That's
in
it.
places
That's what I
where
would've
they
done. I'm
are.
like, I got this.
Ice cream?
At
Anybody
the
ice
end.
cream?
I walked out of there feeling like this is all kind of BS. That's why
Yeah.
I was like, this is all kind of bullshit. Then
I've never had a religious experience. I grew up Catholic. I've never had a single one. I know my mom hates it. When I was like, Mom, sorry, I got nothing on this side.
right.
I got nada.
I mean, not to say that you might not someday, but I don't think there's anything. There are other experiences to have other than religious experiences
I've had-
that can change you.
yeah,
So
I've had beautiful experiences hiking, like on top of stuff like that. But I don't.
all the
anyway.
women that you give brunch to.
All the women that I'm
Oh,
giving
my God.
brunch, ladies, this Sunday. All right, we are open. You come on down. The bed is made up.
If
The
you say
sausage is
brunch,
hot.
yeah.
We have so many plated situations. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a couple different options.
he
for you.
definitely wears the apron with like no pants,
Nothing
When he
on
turns around,
underneath.
it's all ass.
It says kiss the
apron
cook with an
chaps.
arrow.
I call them apron
Yeah,
chaps.
yeah.
No, but sorry, we're gonna go off on that thing. Yeah, there's a couple things I know that you want to iron out, but I find it interesting. But wait, you didn't have any Albert. You didn't have any pressure from your parents with any religion stuff, and I don't think you didn't really have anything because
I mean, my daughter's technically been. Is it Christian, baptized, Christian? My daughter was
Christianized.
Christian.
They've been lionized.
Yeah,
She's been
she
eaten
was
by
Christian.
a bear.
She
and
went to
spit
the
out.
thing. The guy did some
little
water.
mumbo
I think
jumbo.
it's voodoo, right? Is that what
That's
they do?
it, yeah, something like that. And I think it was kind of a waste of time and money because since then, no religion has been implemented in Little Lady
right.
May's head.
Well, I will say
Yeah.
my wife's family, because the brethren, you get baptized as an adult because it's supposed to be your decision.
That's,
Okay.
I love
So
that.
instead of like what I was baptized as a, so
Yeah.
so it kind of buys the parent the time to do that,
Yeah.
and then it's their decision if they want to be. So we didn't have that pressure because there was no like peace, and we tried to go to church where her parents went a couple times, and we've sought out and went to several, but it just never none of them ever felt right. And like we had found one close to where we were right before the world shut down. And then the guy who was the pastor, who seemed like a really good dude.
Oh, boy.
I watched him on Facebook over the pandemic, and
Oh,
even just the other
no.
day, he posted just something political. It was like some stupid. It was like
God.
Joe Biden's ears from like 2006
God.
and 2023. And I'm like, how can I go and listen to a man
Right.
Yeah.
if this is the quality of what he's posting on Facebook?
He's on Alex
That's a
Jones.
really good point. That is a fucking.
Yes.
That's a really.
I don't
good
need him
point.
to be perfect.
No,
But that's
but that's
Yeah,
silly.
and in the Bible or whatever religious text you're in, there's no mention of Democrats,
That's what I mean,
Republicans,
like, it just-
liberals,
and
conservatives.
I thought we had found a place.
Yeah,
also,
and then
you
when the
don't want
religion
someone
people
that's
bring that
body
in.
shaming. That's just not okay.
That is not okay.
Not okay.
Lizzo and I have a whole campaign. You should go see it.
But yeah, no, the religion will use its powers to manipulate.
But like,
like
I just like
political
that's the thing.
landscapes
If you're
and
going to
stuff
be a
like
part of that service, you got to be about it. And like that's the hard part because now I don't want to go back there. And now that things are opened up, like it's just so
Yeah.
it's a bummer because we were trying to find something to have a tradition, have a
Yeah.
community, and sometimes like because it is just humans, we're all flawed. Whatever.
true.
Only the Pope is infallible. I don't know if you know that.
Well, geez,
Even the
so-
Nazi ones.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Even
yeah.
well, that was a,
Unfortunately.
that's
But
a
because
thing
then,
too.
but then you have real stuff that we got to talk to. I mean, it's hard enough talking about God, but like, and our kids are young. But like, can you imagine when we have to start talking about like sex and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I mean, because like usually you could then use religion to potentially help you with that
Right.
conversation.
Yeah.
But now you just like, at what age do we start talking about sex? I mean, you and I are closer to it because your oldest is 6, right?
Yeah.
But like, at
No,
some
my
point,
husband and I decided that we're going to talk to them about sex when they get a cell phone at the age of 35. That is when we are going to just be like, woo, there you go.
When you're done shaving, get in here. Mom
Yep.
and Dad got to tell you
Yep.
something really
Yep.
important.
yeah.
The
Yeah, no,
iPhone 98.
They're like, wait, no. He's like, I'm gonna go first. You're gonna be a grandma.
I-
Now, go ahead. What did you want to tell me about?
Seriously. Yeah, no, I am not looking forward to any of those really big conversations. And because the thing is too, where my husband and I have some different views on how to talk about things. Like he is very honest all the time. And that's great. But sometimes when you tell kids things too much too
You
soon,
can't undo that.
they tell everybody.
Yeah.
And also
Right,
that
and then your kid's like the inappropriate one almost if they're too
Oh,
honest, right?
oh God, yes. So for instance, I have no standing on Santa Claus. He's just a nice fellow with a beard that's around at the time of year when I don't celebrate his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever. I was like, whatever you want to do. My husband, not religious, but loves Christmas because he loves the
Do you
lights.
do the Christmas tree
We do a tree.
menorah?
We do a menorah. So we
Okay.
celebrate both.
Yeah.
But so we were talking about, Christmas and about how it's it's a pagan holiday.
It is.
And then of course there was the question about Santa Claus, and my husband's like, Santa Claus does not exist.
Boom.
And I was
love
like,
it.
but she's 3. So then she goes, I go to pick her up from daycare, and the
shit.
teacher pulls me aside and she goes, so listen, your daughter has been telling people that Santa Claus isn't real.
And you were like, and?
I was like, well, I turned to her and I said, you know that he's not,
Yeah.
right? So she's like, yeah. And I was like, but you're telling me you want me to keep her big mouth shut because other children. And I was like, absolutely. And that's the problem, right? Is that they don't have a filter and they don't know when things are.
That's the problem.
So if you want someone else's family wants to keep that magic going, they should be allowed to do that. But it's also like, I like the idea of the tooth fairy. And my husband's like, there's no such thing. And I was like, come on, dude.
here's
This
the-
isn't even
Never
religious.
mind. This is not my podcast. I'm sorry. I agree.
You
I
can,
agree
you can chime
also.
in.
Nah.
But I'm a huge hypocrite here because if it were up to me,
You still believe in Santa?
if it were up to me, they would have never known who Santa was.
Right.
Not from my house anyway, not from my family.
Yeah, but
They would've learned
unfortunately,
that
you
from
don't
school
have
and they
that
would've-
choice
I-
the
I
way
don't.
this world is.
And they still believe in Santa Claus, and they think that elf is moving every night. And I want to be like, this is all fake.
Yeah.
and I can't because that would
You're
just
like, I am buying you these
but
presents.
I think
It
it's,
is
I
from
do
me.
also think it's fucked up that the teacher's like, hey, just so you know, your kid's telling the truth.
I know. Well, and I'm
Yeah,
like, I
but,
get it, but
like,
like when
it
they're
is-
young,
Nah,
you
nah,
gotta,
see, I
you
don't think- I
gotta
think
honor
that's
other
so
people's
silly.
parenting.
Well, that's where it
is-
gets. That's where it gets foggy. That's
Yeah.
where
But
like it
also,
can't keep church and state that separate.
Yeah.
Santa Claus is not religion. There is
True.
no religion about
That's
Santa
true.
Claus.
You're right.
No.
That's
Yeah,
true.
that's not religion. That's some shit
America.
that we made up.
That's-
Yeah, Coca-Cola made
And
that
we
shit or
describe
whoever.
we describe it under like it's charity, like
Yeah, yeah. So Santa Claus. So you being
rings
I
a bell
think,
at the Salvation Army. It's all good.
I think the school should really start taking down their little
Well, we
Santa
don't-
Claus stuff
we
and
don't
everything
have-
because
well,
it is a lie. Not
So
not
Santa
because of-
Claus would come, and I was like, "This is a little messed up." And they're like, "Well, we can have her not sit." I was like, "Yeah, no, let's definitely put, honey. You don't need to see all this. You go, the kids go have fun. Don't sit in the corner." Like I was like, "That's
Yeah,
ridiculous."
for practicing, especially like secular Jews, if I'm even using that correctly, I would just make I would make my own Santa. Like just do whatever you
I
want,
mean,
right?
Hanukkah Harry.
Yeah. There, boom.
you
See,
go.
I didn't even know it existed.
Herschel.
Boom.
Yeah.
You know, he comes
Well,
in. That'd be great.
Here's the thing, right? So growing up in an area that was had more Jews than most places, like that was, I wasn't the
Called
only.
what? Where are you from?
I'm from here. I grew
Okay.
up like right next to Manayunk.
Okay, all
in
right.
the Lower Merion area. So
Oh,
like,
yeah,
a lot of Jews, right? So, but even with that, it's so commercialized. That is the one time of year where I felt so othered and so just like not part of.
but Saturday Night Live did that beautiful song "Christmas for the Jews." What do you mean? That was
And I appreciate them trying.
the Chinese
But it-
restaurants. And
I
But
I'm
it
not
is,
familiar with that song, but Adam Sandler's got a couple of hits.
Christmas
about-
for the Jews. You've
Yeah.
never heard Christmas
I'm
for the
not
Jews?
I'm not an
Oh,
SNL
so
fan.
great.
But Sandler's
It's an
got the
older
Hanukkah
one.
song, so there's
Yeah,
that.
no, he did. There's a lot
He
more
said, "Let me
Hanukkah
find
songs than
the
there used
one
to
or
be.
two." Yeah, no, but I think I don't know. It's a lot of the holidays are around the same time because, like you mentioned, like the concept of a Christmas tree dates back to like the Romans, where they celebrated what was called Saturnalia, which was the harvest. It was the time of year when it was too cold to farm. The harvest was done. We couldn't plant yet. So it was a break. So they did like this role reversal where they're like outdoors, indoors, indoors, outdoors. The father, who was usually the boss of the house, now the youngest kid became the boss. It was
Oh.
like this fun role reversal holiday. And so when the Romans all of a sudden became Christian with the Emperor Constantine, they're like, "Oh, this is the perfect time. Let's just pretend Jesus was born around this time because we're used to
Because we're
partying
already-
around this
we're
time."
already in it.
And then we just kind of mix it all together, and now you got like Christmas and Hanukkah,
It's called
Kwanzaa.
Saturnalia.
All of
Saturnalia?
these
What'd you
things
call
are
it?
Saturnalia.
But
Like, so
Hanukkah's
Saturn's like
not
the
a-
god
Saturn, who was the god
of the harvest. Okay.
And
But
this-
Hanukkah's not a big holiday. It became a bigger holiday because
We were
all the
competing.
little Jewish boys and girls felt so sad.
They, so they wanted
Then we
so
went up them. We 7 up them because
crazy.
we added 8
crazy,
days. They
crazy,
can't watch this.
Dude,
crazy days.
And
They're-
celebrating both, that is exhausting because it's like, I mean, and when they don't fall at the same time, it's like 3,000 because you want to make sure everybody gets what they need in the time.
And
And
then I have to do Kwanzaa. I'm
I know,
exhausted.
I
with that.
know, it is a lot.
And we have our school has a large Indian population, so now we started celebrating Diwali.
Oh, okay.
We have that as a day off now. But like we had a few teachers who are Jewish, and we didn't have a lot of the Jewish holidays off. So they were allowed to take the Jewish holidays off, but then they had to come in over our winter break
Christmas?
and put the days in over that as a result if they
See,
did take them.
I always like that. Like that's the thing. Around Christmas, everything is closed, but there's nothing like you don't have work, but I don't have
There's
anything to
nothing to
do.
do.
So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
I would be happy to work those days. If-
Right, because you wouldn't even have to do
can you
anything
find
anyway.
Christmas time for the Jews on YouTube so we could show it
So I
forever.
can-
That might be a good. It's fun. It is fun. Have you ever seen it? It's
I
fun.
don't know, but there are SNL has done so much. So
It was
much.
like one of their like song shorts that they did. It wasn't necessarily a skit.
maybe.
Yeah, the only thing I wish just other countries, because we just adopted and it became way too corporate, as you guys said, just Santa. Other countries don't treat it like it's folklore. That's what I love. They tell
Yeah.
the kids know it's not real. In the same way, but we have to convince them it's real. That's what I mean. That's what I got. That
No,
kind of
I
thing.
think that's a good point. It's
Yeah.
like we're like, no, it's real.
You have to, because they want to see the magic, and then they want to see the magic die in their children's eyes later. That's what you do. You do it.
It's 100% true. We make up this lie for no reason other than to tell them years down the road it's a lie. And
that's-
every
yeah,
grown
it's
up
like,
you know was in
Don't
on
you
it.
ever lie to me?
But
And,
every
oh,
grown
by
up
the
you know
way,
was
that whole
lying
time
to you.
We
You
were
were
lying
lying
to
to me.
you.
But we're cool, right? Because you're never going to lie to mommy and daddy, right? So fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden they're of the age where they start lying to us, and we're wondering why.
Yeah,
Well,
where'd you learn
learned
this
it by
behavior?
watching
I don't
you,
know.
Dad.
Maybe when you told me that.
It's funny. Like
that and heroin.
I became vegetarian around Passover of that year, and the thing that I love, like matzo ball soup, right? That's
Love
a
matzo
big
ball
and
soup.
chicken ball matzo ball soup. And I was like, all right, I'm not gonna eat. My mom's like, are you gonna have that? And I was like, I don't know. And she's like, what do you think? The chicken just like sits in the broth and like, oh, it's too hot and gets out. Like, no, either do it or don't do
Yeah.
it. So I stopped eating that, right? And every year, my mom would make vegetarian chicken soup and matzo balls for me,
Okay.
which was so
So
nice,
just
right?
matzo
Because
ball
I
soup.
didn't expect that. I didn't ask that of her. She's been doing it for years, and I told her how much I loved it. My brother pulls me aside a couple years ago around Passover, and he goes, "You know it's not vegetarian, right?" And I'm like, "What?"
Oh
And
shit!
he's
That
like,
was your
"She's
Santa
been
Claus.
lying to you the whole time." And I was like, "Why?" She's like, "You thought it was so good." I was like,
Wow.
"I could have just not eaten it. Like I didn't need you to
Wow.
lie to me."
Wow.
But yeah,
Okay. Listen, I'm gonna put. Yeah, we'll do this, and then for people at home, you'll be able to hear this. We'll probably have to talk over it a little bit. Hopefully, should be fine.
I mean, it's 3 minutes. We're not gonna rock this
Yeah,
whole
no.
thing out, are we?
yeah.
yes,
yeah.
we are.
Relax, Albert. Jeez.
All right. We'll pull it up, and then I'll put it still. on my show.
Oh, you got to hear it from.
Oh yeah, you guys aren't gonna be able to hear this unless you put headphones on.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah, there's
Well, it's
headphones
really
on.
good,
You can put them
Albert.
on.
No.
I mean, I'm sure I can check.
But
it
it's
out
like
at
an
some
old
point.
school. Yeah, you gotta watch because it plays on all of the. It's,
Okay,
it's playing
I've
on
watched.
the fact that.
I've watched this before,
and it's
which
like
means
this
I've heard
old
it
like
before.
Temptation sounding
Yeah.
song.
Yeah, well, they're definitely.
I have
black
seen
ones.
it before.
For the Jews.
Yeah, no, I know what you're
And it
talking
just
about.
plays off of all of the typical stereotypes of, and then they're going to the movies
Yep.
and they're having Chinese food.
So
and-
because we're not religious, we have a Christmas tradition, which is that we, have the tree, we open the presents in the morning, and then we watch Doctor Who marathon all day.
nice.
That's my husband's thing, and then we have Chinese food because that's
That's
what
it.
I
Doctor Who's
know
a Christmas
from. Yeah,
No, it's just
Okay,
it's not a Christmas thing, but you can make anything a Christmas.
Yeah,
thing.
I guess
that's
you make
just
it
the thing
into
that we
Christmas
just-
tradition.
I just want to have a tradition, family
Yeah.
time. Whatever
Sure.
you're spending time together with your family. You're off from work and school.
in our little matching
Yeah.
pajamas,
and you just kind of
Yeah.
make it your own, and you pull from. It's like a buffet. You pull from the pieces you want, and you leave what you don't want. And you know what? At the end of the day, as long as our kids are nice to one another and know how to interact with people who
Yeah,
are,
that's the goal,
or
right? That's
aren't
all
like
we really
them,
want.
and
Yeah.
are loved and supported, and feel like
Yeah.
they can share.
and we
stuff
don't need
with
all
you.
that guilt nonsense that comes with like whether
Guilt?
it's the Catholic,
Not guilt. Well, both. We get
need
both
guilt
of
for
those.
Hanukkah,
We get
bro.
both
We
need
guilt
guilt.
and guilt.
like the guilt of like whether it's a Jewish mother or a Catholic mother. You
Mm-hmm.
don't need like I always say that about my mom. Like her and Jesus are my favorite martyrs. Like they're like
Oh man,
like there's something
know that-
about that. You
oh,
know.
I had pneumonia a couple months ago, and I wouldn't go to the doctor because it was just like a cough that wouldn't go away. And my mother and my mother-in-law were both like, "Go to the doctor." And it's like Jewish guilt and black guilt. Like both of them are very different, but they're very intense.
Intense.
You're
They
just,
work.
Okay,
They
fine.
work. They work very well. Yeah.
yeah.
But that's but so there's certain things and behind both of those was care for you,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. So whether it came from the
The Bible, the
Bible
Episcopalian
or
Bible.
the-
or yeah, the
As long
or
as
the
it comes from a
Torah,
good
it doesn't
place,
matter.
right?
Yeah, it's
Cain
like
and Abel stories and shit. Right, they all came from
That's
a good
right,
place. 'Cause
so-
that's at the end of the day, you just gotta love these kids and give them the best life you can give them. That's it.
And know you're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. And own that you're going to make mistakes, and
And when
maybe
in doubt-
sign them up for therapy now,
Lie to them.
and lie to them.
that's right.
Santa Claus
And
still
then
real.
berate them when they question you and
Yes.
say, "This is what we do here."
Right, do as they're saying as they do, and just rock out.
I've learned so much.
Yeah, that's it. Did you have anything that you were worried about when you were first becoming a mom that now you're like, I can't believe I even thought twice about that?
I mean, there were so many things I didn't think about. Like you like the whole thing is like I realize in retrospect how much I didn't think about. Like we didn't have a real hard time having kids. Like let's have kids, and then we got pregnant and it was
kids.
fine.
Yeah.
And I had great pregnancies. The deliveries were not the most fun, but they rarely are.
Yeah.
And then after I had them, I realized I have friends that had multiple miscarriages or people that still can't have
Yeah.
kids that want them.
Yeah.
So thinking about that aspect of things, that you just want them to come out healthy, right?
Yep.
But like things can happen after they're come out healthy, and and so
Yeah.
it's like my son is on the spectrum, and so figuring out how that's working, and as we were talking, he's 4, so figuring figuring out when he's doing something.
just a 4-year-old
Is he 4?
and
Is he a
what's that?
boy?
Yep.
Is it his? Is it
Exactly.
his personality? Is it his being on the spectrum? My daughter is super smart. She is gigantic. Like she's almost as big as I am. I'm concerned about having a beautiful, smart Black daughter and what that's going to mean in this world. Like there's stuff you can only be so prepared for, and like I can't even help. Like she's going to be tall. I can't help her with that. I don't know what it's like
You
to
don't
be
know.
tall.
You don't know what it's like up here,
I'm
girl.
5
You
feet.
have no fucking idea.
I'm just
Now, do both
yeah.
of you? So
Your husband's tall?
You're
What? My husband is taller than he's like just shy of 6.
All right, tell him to say 6 feet next time. He'll appreciate that. When this
I
airs.
guess yeah, he would appreciate that.
Yeah, that's
He's 6
crazy.
feet tall. He's 6
There
feet.
you go.
He's like, yeah, 6. Yeah,
6 feet. Edit that out. He's 6 feet tall. Thank you.
absolutely.
But yeah, it's and just when you think you start to get the handle on things, like another issue pops up, and I love them, and they're wonderful, smart kids, and I feel really lucky, but they're also exhausting, and trying to like juggle being a person and having more than one career, and having one career that certainly is not very practical or easy to do, I was having a discussion with another comic who's also a parent, and she was like, but they need to see that you're a person, and that there are things you're trying to achieve, and that's something that's hard and admirable, and you got to work hard at it. So so the answer is yes. There are lots of things as a parent that I'm.
Well, I think so. Is there anything you want to plug for yourself? A website, anywhere people can check you out?
Oh, I have a website, but it's so bare bones.
Instagram?
So don't go to that.
So don't go there. Instagram is always good. The Real MFs, and I'm on that first generation social media thing known as the Facebook, and that has stuff on it. And Twitter will probably explode by May, so there's no point. And
I thought the first generation thing was that Donald Trump.
I'm on Truth
That's what I thought
Social.
That's what I thought you were talking about. I was like, are you on
going to
that
be
thing?
MySpace.
Yeah,
She's like, check
yeah.
out my MySpace page.
I have a very well built out site on MySpace.
My
and,
AOL screen name is.
Yes, yeah. So
I see you in the chat rooms. I'll be answering questions
But Instagram is probably the best place to find where I have stuff going
for
on.
now, right? And then
Yeah.
in 6 years, it'll be like, oh, it'll be a new thing, and then there'll be.
We'll all be in the metaverse.
We'll all
by
have to
then,
learn how to
right?
do that.
Yeah.
Yes. I will send you an imaginary stone tablet that
There
will
you go.
arrange. Yeah, but
That'll
but
be fun.
and I believe I have a show on Mother's Day actually.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
At somewhere that I need to look up. But yeah, so
I will be there bringing you breakfast.
Hope you get breakfast.
that is
before that.
wonderful.
Yeah.
on a little
Yeah,
platter.
on a little platter. Put it
Brunch
on
with
for
a side of drag queen.
I think we should put for
Delicious.
this episode. We should put a link so everyone can go buy the little breakfast in bed table.
Yeah, bud. Let's do it.
I support your life choices.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah, because now they have them because they have people have them for like their laptops and stuff too. So there's probably a whole market. Amazon could bring 20 of them.
go.
Listen, us as human beings, if you find some way for us to do less, we're gonna figure it out.
Oh my God, how many things can I do from one place?
Yeah.
That's right.
Can I change the oil in my car from my bed? That's what I want to do. Yeah.
Soon enough, you probably will be able to.
Yeah, right. How about it? All right. Well, I think Al, do you have any final thoughts for us as we wind down?
Yeah, man.
You're taken back by this episode, dude. You're just looking down like,
He's still.
I'm just thinking.
Religion.
coming to terms with the diabetes.
You know, it's crazy.
I think.
I think about religion all the time.
Me too.
I think about it all the time because it plays such a big role. So when I hear people's perspectives, I just start thinking about,
Yeah.
do I feel that way? Did I feel that way? What's that mean in the future? It's very interesting.
let us
And
know in the comments.
it's so hard too when your parents are different backgrounds, and so and neither and unless one is like they are being raised this way, it is you get a lot of like I'm trying to.
I think it's also good though
yeah.
to have the diverse. It's also
I
good to
agree.
see the
No,
church
I
and to see
absolutely
the,
think that's a
this
good
and to
thing.
see that and like. So I think that it's. I mean, sounds good to me.
Right. I
You
feel like
do-
we all have a tuning fork in us, and we just kind of you follow the tuning
Yeah.
fork, and you know what I
I
mean.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just do that.
Follow the tuning fork.
Follow
like
the
I think you have the name of the episode.
There we go.
Follow the
Breakfast in
tuning
bed with a
fork.
tuning fork.
Yes. Yeah.
Seriously, Dad?
Thank you for listening to the Dads, for once. Give these daddies a break. And maybe follow, subscribe, like, and comment to the Dads on Instagram and YouTube at Seriously Dad Pod. Rate and review Seriously Dad Podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, and everywhere you get your podcasts.
Seriously, Dad?
How you doing? This is Neil Wood from the Cult of Us podcast, speaking on behalf of Drop 10 Media Network, the network you're currently listening to. make sure to check out all the other podcasts on the network. You can go to drop10.com to check them all out. Make sure to like, subscribe on everything that you see Drop 10 on. We appreciate it. Go to drop10.com now.
This has been a Drop Tent Media production.